Commander Jeho sat in his control chair, drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming. The sound was so loud and sudden that he dropped his cup, watching the hot liquid splash across the metal floor of the monitoring station. "What is happening?" he shouted over the noise, but his crew was already running around like scared animals. Red lights flashed everywhere, making the room look like the inside of a beating heart. Lieutenant Sungmin was staring at his screen with wide eyes, his mouth hanging open. "Sir, you need to see this right now. Something impossible is happening." Jeho walked over to the main display screen. What he saw there made his blood turn cold. Numbers and symbols were dancing across the screen, but he knew exactly what they meant. He had studied them in the old history books, the ones that talked about the time before his people ruled the galaxy. "This cannot be real," he whispered. "Run the scan again. Check for errors." But there were no errors. The quantum receiver was picking up signals from the Sol system, from the third planet that everyone called Earth. The planet had been silent. For 50,000 years, every school child knew the story. Earth was where the humans used to live. Before they all died out and left the galaxy to more civilized species, the signals were coming in a pattern that made Jeho's skin crawl. It was steady and patient, like a sleeping giant slowly opening its eyes. The computers were translating the signals, and the message was simple but terrifying. "Warning systems online. Defense grid active. Threat detected." Sir Sungmin said, his voice shaking. "The signal strength is increasing. Whatever is sending this message, it is getting stronger by the minute." Jeho walked to the big window that looked out into space. Far away, too far to see with his eyes, was the Sol system. Earth was there, supposedly dead and empty. But the signals said otherwise. Something was alive on that world. Something that had been sleeping for longer than most species had existed. "Get me Captain Yunji," he ordered. "Tell her to prepare her archaeological team. They are going to Earth." An hour later, Captain Yunji stood in the briefing room aboard her ship. A silent dawn. She was a tall woman with short black hair and intelligent eyes. Her team of scientists and archaeologists sat around the table, all looking confused and worried. "I know what you are all thinking," she said. "Earth is supposed to be dead. We have sent probes there many times over the years. The surface is covered with the ruins of human cities, but there are no life signs. The atmosphere is clean. The oceans are blue, but nothing lives there." Dr. Minho, her chief archaeologist, raised his hand. "Captain, what exactly are we looking for?" The briefing said that human technology has come online, but that is impossible. Humans have been extinct for 50,000 years. Yunji looked at the datapad in her hands. The information there was classified at the highest levels, known only to the coalition leaders. The old records talk about something called the Guardian Protocol. We always thought it was just a myth, a story that humans told to make themselves seem more dangerous than they really were. She pressed a button, and a holographic image appeared above the table. It showed Earth as it looked from space, blue and green and beautiful. But now there were lights on the dark side of the planet, lights that had not been there before. "These lights started appearing 12 hours ago," she continued. "They are not random, they follow a pattern, like a code. Our computers have been trying to translate the signals, and what they found is disturbing." The hologram changed, showing lines of text in the common galactic language. The message was short but clear. "Children in danger. Returning home, prepare for judgment." The room was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Dr. Hayoung, the team's technology expert, spoke up. "Captain, if humans really did have this kind of technology, why did they leave? Why abandon their homeworld?" "That is what we are going to find out," Youngji said. "Prepare the ships. We leave for Sol System in 6 hours." As the Silent Dawn and its escort vessels entered fold space, none of them noticed the ancient satellites that turned to watch them go. Deep in space, old machines that had been waiting for 50,000 years began to move. On Earth, in hidden bunkers beneath the surface, computer systems that had been sleeping started to wake up. The humans had not died out. They had left, but they had not forgotten. And now, something had happened that made their old homeworld think its children were in danger. The galaxy was about to learn that some sleeping giants should never be awakened. The age of silence was ending, and the humans were coming back. 50,000 years ago, Dr. Lee Hajun stood at the window of Luna Station, watching the last ships leave Earth. The planet looked so small from here, like a blue marble floating in the black ocean of space. But it was home, and they were leaving it forever. "The final evacuation ship has cleared the atmosphere," reported Admiral Park So-young from her command station. "All 17 million colony ships are now in deep space. The great exodus is complete." Hajun nodded slowly. His hands were shaking as he reached for the control panel. This was the hardest thing he had ever done in his life. "Are you sure? This is the only way?" he asked. "The galaxy is not ready for us," So-young replied. "We are too different, too dangerous. Every species we meet either wants to worship us or destroy us. Our children deserve a chance to grow up in peace, somewhere, far from here." Hajun pressed the activation button. Deep beneath Earth's surface, massive machines came to life. Computer systems that had taken decades to build started their long sleep mode. Automated factories sealed their doors. Warning beacons powered down, waiting for the day they might be needed again. Guardian Protocol is now active, he announced. The Watchers will keep vigil. If our children ever need us, Earth will be ready. In the present day, Captain Yunji's fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system. The journey had taken 3 weeks, even with their fastest ships. As they approached Earth, her crew gathered around the main screen to get their first look at the legendary human homeworld. It looks exactly like the old pictures, said Dr. Minho in wonder. Blue oceans, white clouds, green continents. It is beautiful. But the sensor readings were telling a different story. Lieutenant Sungmin was frowning at his instruments. Captain, I am detecting massive energy signatures from multiple locations on the surface. Something is definitely active down there. Yunji studied the data. The planet looked peaceful from orbit, but the numbers on her screen showed industrial activity on a scale that should be impossible for a dead world. Scan for life signs, she ordered. No biological life detected, came the reply. But there are artificial intelligences operating all over the planet. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Dr. Hayoung looked up from her station. Captain, I am picking up signals from the northern continent. It looks like some kind of manufacturing facility has come online. The power output is enormous. Through the ship's telescope, they could see the ruins of what had once been great cities. Seoul, Tokyo, New York, London, all empty now, their buildings slowly being reclaimed by nature. But underneath those ruins, something was stirring. The first sign of real activity came from the mountain ranges. Mount Everest, which had looked normal on their initial scans, suddenly began to change. The snow and ice on its peak started to melt away, revealing something metallic underneath. By the ancient gods, whispered Dr. Minho, the entire mountain is artificial. It is some kind of facility. More mountains began to reveal their true nature. What they had thought were natural formations were actually massive installations, hidden beneath decades of accumulated ice and rock. Each one was coming online, sending signals to the others in a network that spanned the entire planet. Captain, Sungmin called out, his voice tight with fear. I am detecting movement in the ocean depths. Something big is rising from the seafloor. On the main screen, they watched as huge structures broke the surface of the Pacific Ocean. Looked like shipyards, but they were larger than anything in the current galaxy. Water cascaded off their sides as they rose higher and higher, revealing construction bays that could build vessels the size of small moons. This is impossible, Yunji said. How could all of this have been hidden for so long? Dr. Hayoung was studying the energy patterns. Captain, these systems are not randomly activating. They are following a specific sequence, like they are preparing for something. And the power source. I have never seen anything like it. It is clean, unlimited, and completely beyond our current technology. A new alarm started sounding on their ship. The communications officer looked up with a pale face. Captain, we are receiving a transmission from the surface. It is addressed specifically to us. Put it on the main screen, Yunji ordered. The screen flickered, and then showed the image of a human face. But this was not like the humans in their history books. This one looked more advanced somehow, with eyes that seemed to glow with inner light. When it spoke, its voice carried harmonics that made everyone on the bridge feel uncomfortable. Welcome to Earth, the figure said. I am Guardian Prime Jinwoo. You have come at an interesting time. Our long vigil is ending, and our true work is about to begin. The image smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You represent the species that have ruled this galaxy in our absence. Tell me, have you been good caretakers of our children, Captain? Young-ji felt a chill run down her spine. Something in that voice suggested they had not been good caretakers at all. And now, the sleeping giants of Earth were waking up to find out exactly what had happened to their people. The first guardian rose from the heart of Mount Everest like a ghost made of metal and light. Captain Yoonji and her landing team watched in terror as the being emerged through solid rock as if it were made of water. The creature was tall and beautiful in a way that hurt to look at, with a face that was almost human but somehow more perfect than any human had ever been. I am Guardian Prime Jinwoo, it said, and its voice made the ground shake beneath their feet. You have disturbed Earth's long sleep. Why have you come here? Lieutenant Sungmin tried to step forward, but his legs were shaking so badly he could barely stand. We detected signals from your planet. We represent the Galactic Coalition. We came to investigate. The Guardian tilted its head, and suddenly, the air around them began to shimmer. More figures started appearing from nowhere, rising up from hidden places all across the ruined city of Seoul. Each one looked different, but they all had the same terrible beauty, the same eyes that burned with inner fire. Guardian report, Jinwoo commanded, without taking his glowing eyes off the visitors. A female guardian materialized nearby, her form crackling with energy. 17 human settlements have activated their emergency beacons in the past day. Our children are calling for help. The awakening protocol is now fully active. Yoonji felt her heart stop. What children? Humans have been extinct for 50,000 years. Everyone knows this. Guardian Jinwoo made a sound that might have been laughter, but it was like breaking glass mixed with thunder. Extinct, Captain, we never died. We simply stepped back to watch and wait. And what we have seen has made us very, very angry. Dr. Minho, who had been silent until now, found his voice. But the records show that humans disappeared. Your cities were empty. Your ships were gone. Our cities were empty because we left them, said Guardian Hayoung. Our ships were gone because we took them with us. But we never abandoned this world. We left watchers, guardians, protectors. We left a promise. The air above them began to change color, showing images that made no sense. Youngji saw pictures of human colonies scattered across the galaxy. Small settlements on distant worlds where people who looked almost like the ancient humans lived simple lives. But in the images, these peaceful people were being attacked, captured, enslaved. These are our children, Jinwoo explained. The descendants of the humans who left Earth 50,000 years ago. They have lived quietly on hundreds of worlds, bothering no one, asking for nothing. And your coalition has been hunting them like animals. That is impossible, Yoonji protested. The coalition protects all sentient life. We have laws against slavery. Guardian Hayoung moved closer, and Yoonji could feel heat radiating from her artificial body. Do you then explain the neural farms on Kepler 7, where human children are used to boost alien psychic abilities? Explain the mining colonies on Rigel 12, where human slaves work in the deep tunnels because they can survive in conditions that kill other species. The images in the air became clearer and more horrible. Youngji saw her own people, the Zalek, operating facilities that she had always been told were research stations. But now she could see the truth. Human beings, people who looked almost exactly like the ancient Earth humans, were being kept in cages and used like laboratory animals. We did not know, she whispered. I swear to you, we did not know. But your leaders knew, said Jinwoo. They have always known. The coalition has spent 50,000 years telling the galaxy that humans were extinct while they secretly enslaved every human settlement they could find. The ground beneath their feet began to vibrate, and in the distance, Yoonji could see massive structures rising from beneath the earth. Ancient factories that had been hidden for millennia were coming online, their smokestacks reaching toward the sky like the fingers of buried giants. Dr. Hayoung was staring at her instruments in shock. Captain, the energy readings are off the scale. Whatever they are building down there, it is bigger than anything we have ever seen. We are building ships, Guardian Jinwoo said simply. Ships to carry us to our children. Ships to bring justice to those who have harmed them. Ships to remind the galaxy why they should have left humanity alone. The sky above them suddenly filled with light as something massive broke the surface of the ocean. It was a shipyard, but not like any shipyard in the known galaxy. It was the size of a small continent, and it was already working, building vessels that defied everything the coalition knew about physics and engineering. This is Terra Command to all Guardian units. A voice boomed across every communication frequency in the galaxy. Our children call for aid. Begin fleet deployment. The age of hiding is over. Lieutenant Sungmin looked at his captain with fear in his eyes. Ma'am, what have we done? Guardian Jinwoo smiled, and it was the most terrifying thing any of them I had ever seen. We have awakened a species that once ruled this entire galaxy. You have reminded us why we left, and why we should never have trusted you to take care of our people. The Guardians began to fade away, but Jinwoo's voice echoed in the air around them. Go back to your leaders. Tell them the humans are coming home. Guardian Jinwoo stepped forward and placed his metal hand on Captain Yoonji's forehead. The moment he touched her, pain exploded through her mind like lightning. But it was not just pain, it was knowledge. Terrible knowledge that she had never wanted to learn. Images flooded her consciousness like a dam bursting. She saw 50,000 years of history in just a few seconds, and every moment of it made her sick. She watched as coalition ships found small human settlements on distant worlds. She saw families torn apart, children stolen from their parents, adults sold like cattle in secret markets. No, she gasped, trying to pull away from the Guardian's touch. This cannot be real. The coalition does not do these things. But the images kept coming. She saw her own people, the Zellarians, running what they called research facilities. Inside those facilities, human children sat in metal chairs with wires attached to their heads. The children were being used as living amplifiers to boost Solarian psychic powers. Many of them died from the process, and their bodies were simply thrown away like garbage. Stop, she begged. Please stop showing me this. Guardian Jinwoo removed his hand, but the images continued to burn in her mind. You asked for the truth, Captain. This is what your coalition has been doing while you thought you were bringing peace to the galaxy. Dr. Minho was staring at his own scanner in horror. Captain, I am detecting massive construction activity all over the planet. Whatever they are building, it is enormous. Through the ruins of Seoul, they could see the Earth itself changing. Hidden factories that had been sleeping beneath the surface for 50,000 years were coming online. The ground split open like eggshells, revealing construction yards that stretched to the horizon. Automated machines the size of buildings moved with perfect precision, building something that defied imagination. Lieutenant Sungmin pointed to the sky with a shaking hand. Look up there. Above them, the atmosphere was filled with sparks of light. Ships were being constructed in orbit, vessels unlike anything in the current galactic database. They were sleek and predatory, like metal sharks swimming through space. Each one was easily twice the size of the Coalition's largest battleships. The Vorthok Empire uses human slaves in their dilithium mines, Guardian Hyung said, appearing beside them like a ghost. The workers die from radiation poisoning within 6 months, so they constantly need fresh supplies. They have been raiding human colonies for centuries. Dr. Hyung looked up from her instruments with a pale face. Captain, I am reading construction signatures from every continent. They are not just building ships, they are building an entire fleet. The truth was becoming clear, and it was more horrible than any of them had imagined. The Coalition had not just accidentally discovered human settlements over the years. They had been actively hunting them, enslaving them, using them in ways that no civilized species should ever use another intelligent being. The Kepler settlements, Guardian Jinwoo continued. Your people told the galaxy they were research stations studying human artifacts. But they were actually breeding farms, where human children were raised specifically to be used as psychic amplifiers. Youngji fell to her knees, overwhelmed by the weight of what she was learning. We did not know. I swear on my ancestors, we did not know. Your leaders knew, said Guardian Hyum. Every Coalition member species has facilities like this. The humans have been the galaxy's secret slaves for 50,000 years, and everyone in power knew about it. The ground beneath them began to shake violently. In the distance, something massive was rising from the ocean. It looked like a mountain at first, but as it broke the surface, they could see it was actually a ship construction facility. Water poured off its sides like waterfalls as it continued to rise, revealing construction bays that could build vessels the size of space stations. Terra command to all Guardian units. A voice boomed across every communication frequency in known space. Phase 1 construction is complete. Begin Phase 2. Deployment. Our children have waited long enough. Dr. Minho was watching his scanners in amazement and terror. Captain, they are not just building these ships here on Earth. I am detecting similar construction activity on asteroids throughout the Sol system. They have been preparing for this moment for millennia. Guardian Jinwoo looked at the Coalition team with eyes that burned like stars. You want to know why we left 50,000 years ago? It was not because we were weak or afraid. It was because we knew what would happen if we stayed. We knew that other species would see us as either gods to worship or monsters to destroy. The sky above them suddenly filled with new lights. Ships were launching from the hidden facilities, hundreds of them, thousands of them. Each one moved with a grace and speed that made Coalition vessels look like clumsy toys. We tried to give the galaxy a chance to grow without us, Guardian Hyung said. We hoped that other species would learn to be better than we were, but instead, you became worse. You took our children and made them into slaves. Lieutenant Sungmin was staring at the fleet gathering above Earth with wide eyes. How many ships do they have? Guardian Jinwoo smiled, and it was like watching a star go supernova. Enough, Lieutenant, more than enough. The galaxy is about to remember why humanity once ruled from one end of the spiral arm to the other. The age of Coalition dominance was ending, and none of them had even realized it was happening. The human fleet appeared around the besieged colony of New Jeju without any warning. One moment, the space around the planet was empty except for the Coalition blockade ships, and the next moment, it was filled with vessels that should not have existed. Admiral Kim Tae-hein stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the Coalition forces through the main screen. He looked human, but there was something different about him. His eyes seemed to glow with inner light, and when he moved, it was with a grace that no normal human possessed. 50,000 years of evolution had changed his people in ways that the galaxy was not prepared for. Coalition Fleet Commander Jaeho, he said, his voice carrying across subspace to every ship in the system. You have 30 seconds to release the human prisoners and withdraw from this system. Commander Jaeho sat in his command chair, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. The human ships were unlike anything in the Coalition database. They moved through space like living things, flowing around obstacles instead of turning to avoid them. Their hulls seemed to shift and change color as he watched, making them almost impossible to target with weapons. This is impossible, he muttered to his tactical officer. How many ships do they have? I count 300 vessels. Sir, but the energy signatures are wrong. Each one of these ships is putting out more power than our entire battle group combined. Admiral Kim's image appeared as a hologram on Jaeho's bridge. Up close, the human looked even more unsettling. His skin had a slight metallic sheen, and his eyes were definitely not normal. They burned with a light that made everyone who looked at them feel small and afraid. You seem confused, Commander, Kim said with a smile that held no warmth. Let me explain what is happening. We are taking our people back. All of them, from every world, every station, every hidden facility where you have kept them as slaves. The coalition does not keep slaves, Jeho protested, but his voice lacked conviction. Deep down, he knew about the facilities. Everyone in the military knew about them, even if they pretended not to. Do you not? Admiral Kim gestured, and the space around them filled with images. They showed coalition facilities across the galaxy, places where humans were kept in cages and used for experiments. The images were recent, taken just hours ago by human ships that had somehow infiltrated coalition space without being detected. Captain Yunji, who was still on Earth with her archaeological team, watched the confrontation through her ship's communication system. She had seen the truth in Guardian Jinwoo's memories, and now the whole galaxy was about to learn what the coalition had really been doing for 50,000 years. Admiral Kim, she transmitted from Earth's surface, I am Captain Yunji, the archaeological vessel, Silent Dawn. I have seen the evidence. The coalition leadership has been lying to us. They have been enslaving humans for millennia. Admiral Kim nodded to her image on his screen. Thank you for your honesty, Captain. You are one of the few coalition officers who seems to have a conscience. Commander Jeho was studying his tactical displays with growing panic. Sir, our weapons are not responding. All our systems are being blocked somehow. That is correct, Admiral Kim said calmly. Your ships are now under our control. You cannot fire. You cannot flee. You can barely even move. We have had 50,000 years to study your technology. We know every weakness, every vulnerability. Across the galaxy, the same scene was playing out at hundreds of human settlements. Coalition blockades and slave facilities found themselves surrounded by human ships that had appeared from nowhere. The vessels did not attack, did not threaten. They simply took control of every coalition system and waited. This is Admiral Park Soyoung of the Terra Defense Force. A new voice announced across all communication channels. We are broadcasting on every frequency in known space. The age of human slavery is over. We are reclaiming our people. Commander Jeho looked at his screens showing human ships throughout coalition territory. There were thousands of them, maybe tens of thousands. They had somehow coordinated a simultaneous operation across hundreds of light years, moving with precision that should have been impossible. How? He whispered. How did you coordinate all of this? Admiral Kim's smile grew wider. Commander, we never really left. We have been watching you for 50,000 years. We have ships hidden in every system, observers on every world. We know where every human slave is kept, every facility where our people suffer. On Earth, Guardian Gin was addressing Captain Yunji's team directly. Your species will now make a choice. You can return our people, pay reparations for 50,000 years of slavery, and accept human oversight of your governments, or you can face the consequences. Dr. Minho looked up at the Guardian with fear in his eyes. What consequences? The same consequences that the galaxy faced the last time humanity decided to take direct action. Jinwoo replied. Total conquest. The difference is that this time, we are much stronger than we were before. The message was clear across every world, every station, every ship in coalition space. The humans had returned, and they remembered everything. The galaxy could surrender and face justice, or it could fight and face extinction. In the end, there was no real choice at all. The age of coalition rule was over, and the age of human justice had begun.